offset.
Welcome to another episode of Mondays with Milt. Today I've got our national sales manager with me, Aaron Eubank. How you doing, Aaron?
Good.
Now today we're coming down this active aisleway. Just came out of one of the offices here, on our way to the other building. And you know what? We've got a nice product here beside us. So we got pallet rack, but on that pallet rack, we don't want things to get knocked off and hit our head as we're walking by, so we've got some RackBack panels. You know, Aaron, we have quite a few options when it comes to RackBack. And as you can see here, typically the offset bracket, there's usually three of them. Flush mount, one that goes from like 1 5/8 to 3 1/4, and then probably the most popular from 4" to 6". But why don't you tell us what we got here?
Well, right here we have a heavy-duty offset clip, because if you can see by the tape, you're looking at a 16" offset here. And by heavy-duty offset clip, it's about double the distance of our standard clip, so you can attach it in 2 points instead of 1, which adds to the durability of the clip.
Yeah, so that's going to really hold this thing pretty rigid when you've got something that's going to be hanging off quite a bit. And then we've got an end panel here. Obviously, we've got a concern that things might be coming off the end.
Yeah, and the other nice thing about both of these two side by side, they both extend over the top, which shows that it doesn't just have to stop at the top of the actual upright. We can extend up to 5 foot over the top and support it with the clips, and even in some cases use slotted angle to support that angle.
Yeah, so if you're wanting to load on the top beam, you can still get protection up above that. You know, Aaron, I think the real beauty of our RackBack product is the ease of installation. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, you get all the hardware that you need in the hardware packs that attach directly to the uprights, as well as attach the clips to our panels, so you don't need to source any of that out. And it works great with teardrop rack, which is by far the most common rack out there.
Yeah, so you're just simply bolting to the rack upright and then bolting to the panel itself. And with the adjustable clips that we showed while we were out there, you just kind of determine what you're going to be loading on the pallet rack, and then you take it from there.
Correct.
You know, we do have competition, and some people look at the netting product. Because our product prevents the spillage, I think that really helps it a lot.
I would agree, and if you talk to most installers, they would much rather install our product because it's much easier to install than the time that's put into installing the netting. And another big issue with netting is a lot of times it covers more than one bay. So if the scope of your layout and your distribution center changes, you have to take the entire net down to move 1 or 2 bays. And since our panels are just per bay, you can move them around. That's completely modular to how you want to reorganize your warehouse.
Yeah, so that really helps quite a bit. Now, you know, one thing that we both have noticed is during this pandemic, when sales have been tougher to come by, the RackBack has seemed to do really well. In fact, I think we might be a little bit ahead of last year. We have to look at the e-commerce type business where there's still a lot of warehouse activity going on.
Yeah, I think any kind of fulfillment center or something where you have a lot of fork truck traffic moving around on a daily basis that's lifting, especially at high places in the warehouse, to do that, and you could have any kind of movement behind. It's a safety issue as well as it's a containment issue, so you don't have to spend the time of cleaning up any spills. Yeah, and I think another thing that you can attribute that to, the big thing here is it's really easy to order. Whether you work at a fulfillment center or you're one of our distributors, these questions right here is all we need on any kind of RackBack. So that's available on our website, or we have these forms available on our website as well if you wanted to print it out and take it with you. And then you just check these 8 boxes right here, and once you have those answers, you got a quote right back to you.
Yeah, the one other option that we didn't look at just yet out there is the complete rack enclosure. So we have both double hinge doors and we have slide doors.
Yeah, and they attach to the front, and so it really is, depending on how you're going to, if it's a standalone bay, we'll usually go with the double hinge so you can have access to the entire bay on one side. But if you have an aisle issue and you have a bunch of bays together, you can go to the slide door so you're not opening it out and losing aisle space, and they just slide in front of the bay next to it, so you would have full access to that one bay at a time.
Yeah, and we can build those doors up to 20 foot high, and depending on the width of the rack, whatever that beam width needs to be, we may, depending on the size, we'll put our own 3-inch square upright post right in front of that rack upright, so that you're not losing any of the space within your pallet rack.
Right. Yeah, and we even stock some sizes in the double hinge door. And 8 foot wide, we have 8 foot tall and 10 foot tall. So that's right off the shelf for us, and something that could quick ship directly to the customer immediately.
Yeah, because there's so many times that the customer is wanting to secure what's going on the pallet rack, but unless you ask him if there's a need for it, you may not know. So that's always one more selling point to bring up to the customer.
Yeah.
Go to WireCrafters.com, our website, and you can click on the resource tab and get all the information you need about the brochures, the installation manuals, and we've also got a toll-free number that you can call us. We'd be happy to talk to you about it also. So Aaron, thank you very much for jumping in here with me. Again, Aaron Eubank, our National Sales Manager. We'll see you next time on another episode of Mondays with Milt.